In July 2024, I had the opportunity to take a trip to Knoebels in Ellisburg, Pennsylvania, which is just about an hour west of Allentown, Pennsylvania, where Dorney Park is located, and about an hour east of Hershey, Pennsylvania. So, on my Western Pennsylvania coaster trip last year, I decided I really wanted to check this park out, and I am here to tell you that I was not let down whatsoever. And there were a few surprises along the way, too, that I wasn't expecting. And I'm going to tell you all about them right now. So let's get to it. So I have been a fan of locally owned, family operated parks since I was a little kid growing up with Geauga Lake, which was in my backyard in Northeast Ohio, where I grew up. And that was my home park long before it was purchased by corporate park giants like Six Flags and Cedar Fair. So going to Knoebels was really cool because the charm of those parks has always hit home for me, because that's what I grew up with. This park did not disappoint when it came to that, let me tell you. Opening in 1926, this park not only has an amusement park, but it has a large swimming pool, a picnic grove, and a campground. Currently, it is the United States' largest free admission park. Yes, you can park your car and just walk right in and not pay for a single thing if you don't want to. But let's talk about my visit in 3 sections. First, we'll talk about the vibe and the feel of the park with some general information that you may need to know for your trip to Knoebels. Number 2, we'll talk about the food and the entertainment. And number 3, we're gonna talk about the rides. So let's start with number 1, the vibe and some general information. Now, as I've mentioned in videos before, the vibe and the energy of any kind of park can either draw me there to come back over and over a lot, or it can make me kind of feel like, that wasn't so bad, meaning there's some great stuff at the park, but I'm not gonna make it like a priority to travel specifically to that park. Now, Knoebels, however, is a park I would make it a point to make sure I stop by if I am ever in that area again, because the charm of this park and the vibe was absolutely awesome. It was so welcoming, it was so charming. Parking and admission, as I mentioned earlier, are both free, and the entertainment. So when you arrive here, you park your car and you literally walk right into the park. I mean, it's like a bunch of streets and you just walk right in. If you want to ride all day, there are ride all day passes that you can purchase, which is what I did. So you can purchase those online or at the park if you like. I got a special on the website before I visited the park. It was around $55 for all day rides, and I visited on a weekday. That was a special on their website. That included everything with the rides except for the Haunted Mansion attraction, and it does not include their Crystal Pool, which is their giant swimming pool, along with some slides and a few other extra charge attractions it did not include, like mini golf. So make sure you check the park's website for anything that's not included in that ride all day pass. You can also buy ride ticket books, which are sold in different package prices, and then you can just use tickets to ride. The more tickets you buy, the lower price per ride that you are going to pay. You can also, of course, stop in, have a bite to eat, maybe just pay for a few bucks for a ride that you want to ride, your favorite ride for that day, and then you can head out. It's that simple. So you can do all day rides, you can do ride tickets, or just pay as you go. Because this park has that free admission, you may see people wandering around, just taking in the day, or bringing in, I saw a lot of dogs in the park because they allow you to bring your dogs in with you. That was super cool. They're walking their dogs around, taking their dogs for walks. It was so cool. To me, it felt like a neighborhood block party, right? Where everyone was invited and everyone was eating and laughing, going in and out of the park, enjoying their rides, swimming, having a great time, enjoying the beautiful scenery and landscaping of what was around them. It was literally like a big giant block party. The park has an old school charm with a friendly staff, diverse and classic ride collections, a mix of modern technology too and innovation, as well as efficient and quality products. I thought it was really surprising to see such a blend of that at this old school, old, charming, friendly neighborhood type park. It was welcoming, it was relaxed, it was fun, and there were a ton of choices as to how you want to spend your day. So let's move on to number 2, the food and the entertainment. Now let's talk about entertainment first. I was able to catch part of a local band playing a set while I was munching on some handmade Bavarian nuts. Did you ever have those Bavarian nuts? They're so good. They were so delicious, cinnamon flavored, just absolutely incredible. I highly recommend the Bavarian nuts if you visit. People were dancing, they were singing along, having a great time. It kind of reminded me of something that is unique to a park like this, because you don't always see in those large theme park chains, you don't always see local bands or local musicians coming and gathering a group of people together and having this little, almost like I mentioned, a neighborhood kind of block party type feel. Those are more stage productions in those larger parks, or even bigger scheduled entertainment productions that go on in scheduled venues. Some parks have big Broadway style productions. Some have musical productions, dancing and singing, but it generally is not just a local band playing and everybody gathers around. It was really, really, really awesome. Also, don't forget that the park does offer some seasonal events. So make sure that you plan, if you do seasonal events, that you plan your trip around that as well. Make sure you check their website for that. Now, Knoebel's is really touted for their food offerings. If you've ever heard a lot about Knoebel's, you hear a lot about the food, and I certainly heard a lot about the food before I even went. Make no mistake, it was absolutely delicious. On my trip, I had pierogies, I had a pulled pork sandwich, I had potato cakes, I had a hot dog, and before I left, I had a wurzel, which is basically fudge. You got to pick what fudge flavor you wanted, and so they take the fudge and then what seemed to be some kind of ice cream blend that they had, some mixture, and they blended it all together to make this creamy, indulgent milkshake type drink. But it was different than drinking a milkshake because it literally tasted like you were just drinking liquid fudge in the flavor that you wanted. It was unbelievably good. The park has so many food choices. And here's the other part that surprised me. Very affordable pricing, which is also, if you want to take a look at all their pricing for their food, they have it listed on the website. So they have pizza, chicken, sausage, turkey legs, corn on the cob, nachos, hamburgers, loaded French fries, even a sit-down restaurant called the Alamo, which features sandwiches, wraps, deep fried shrimp. That's a favorite place for a lot of park goers, is the Alamo. So check that out as well. You are sure to find good entertainment and good eats at Knoebel's. And finally, number 3, let's talk about the rides. Now, you've been seeing some footage throughout this video from the scenic Skyway, and here is some more footage from it. It's that incredible view that is really an outsider's perspective of the park, if you can see that, because you can look down and see everything from left to right as you're coming back down that hill, that mountain where that ride sits. You are going to see the park from the left and the right. It's really kind of a view that it's quiet, it's relaxing. You're not going to get this kind of a view from every theme park or amusement park that you go to. It's just so unique. Other classics here include roto jets, 2 different scenic train rides, giant Ferris wheel, bumper cars, antique cars, flying scooters, and their grand carousel, which, yes, if you're watching this now, you can see, you guessed it, there are people grabbing rings right on the side there, if you can see it, hoping to grab the brass ring to get yourself a free ride. This was so much fun for me. Very few carousels offer this anymore. If you get a chance to ride this and play this little game, I highly recommend it. It's such fun, and it's something you don't get to do on most carousels. You have to make sure, of course, you're on the outer side, the outer side of the carousel, so that you can reach the rings that come out of this little wooden, it's like a square-looking apparatus, right? And you just you have to lean over and grab them. and pull them down. So you can see here, I collected a whole bunch of rings. But anyway, there are also 4 coasters at this park that draw in the coaster enthusiasts. And those are Impulse, Flying Turns, Twister, and Phoenix. I rode all 4 coasters in my visit there, and I have to say that while Phoenix ranks very high in many coaster community circles, I wasn't specifically blown away by it. It was a great ride. It was really awesome. I got 2 rides on it, but I was really, again, surprised at how this coaster didn't live up to the hype that I have heard and all the hype that surrounded it before I even visited. And that could have been part of it. Maybe because the hype was so high, I had high expectations that weren't met, my own expectations. But to me, it was still just a phenomenal classic wooden coaster, but not something that I was, specifically drawn back by and so taken aback by. Twister was also extremely fun and a great classic wooden coaster, and I loved Impulse for the modern technology and innovation that it provided. And then I want to talk about Flying Turns, because Flying Turns was probably my favorite because it was so unique. What I loved about it was, number one, it was built in-house by Knoebels, which I think is so cool when parks build their coasters in-house and make them unique to their park, their landscape. It also won the best new ride in 2004. It opened in 2013 and then won the best new ride for 2014 in the Golden Ticket Awards. There's 4 trains that run along this track. It's a bobsled type coaster. And again, it's another ride, much like the carousel, that you're not gonna find, carousel with the rings, that you're not gonna find everywhere. You're just not gonna find these kinds of bobsled coasters much anymore. They're just not in anymore. But the uniqueness of this ride draws a crowd. And there was a line, and it was really, really fun just to experience that free turning sensation that you get there. If you're going for the coaster credits at Knoebels, they've got you covered. So again, that's about it for my 2024 trip to Knoebels. But if you ever get a chance to stop, I want to repeat that, make sure you stop. I encourage it. It's affordable. They have a wonderful staff. They have great food, great rides, fun and relaxed charm. You're not going to find this anywhere else. And it's kind of tucked away into the mountains of Pennsylvania, which I think is just incredibly beautiful. So thank you for watching this video. Please make sure you give it a like and subscribe to this channel for more of my adventures. I hope to see you on the Midways or maybe even aboard your next cruise.